because you talked to someone about mental health on it before. I know you've talked to someone about climate change before. Do you feel kind of a responsibility to cover those things? I know you mentioned about trying to find people who will, garner a lot of interest, but do you still kind of hold that close as well to be able to kind of highlight those big issues?
It's not entirely to say like, oh, we want this person to get views, because either way, we're not making millions off it. We're making very little off it. We do it for fun. Now we have talked about some serious issues like dictatorships, like in North Korea. Blah, blah, blah. We've talked about today. We had Andrew Drury on from Dark Tourist, and he's doing a lot of stuff right now with regards to ISIS in Afghanistan, reporting on the issues there. And that's not going to come up for a while because we haven't completed it. But that's going to be a massive, I guess, more humanitarian focused podcast. Yeah. We cover mental health. We've covered drug usage. We've covered addiction.
Yeah. Just to say though, I don't think it's a responsibility to talk about them. We talk about them because we want to talk about them.
Yeah.
But at what point does it become a responsibility?
Yeah, I don't think we have the following enough to be seen as. I hate the word influencers because fuck that. You're not an influencer if you advertise, whatever condoms are sponsoring you this week. Yeah. I don't agree with it. But we're gonna talk to people who we find interesting, and yeah, I care a lot about the climate because realistically, we're fucked in around 10-20 years where we're just off the radar unless some huge massive cultural shut up.
I've had a changed perspective on climate change.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, how so?
I realize at the end of the day the world's not going to explode if the place gets fucked up.
Okay.
A lot of us are going to be pretty okay, but a lot of us are going to not be okay. We're in a position in Ireland where we're in the Midlands, probably going to be pretty okay.
Yeah.
Like if you're on the coast or so on, or like really on the coast, you're going to be pretty okay. Now, it's not to say I don't feel bad for people who are on the other side, or I, on purpose, like, I don't know, throw my gum on the floor. I obviously care about climate change, and I've tried to get loads of people on and talk about it and see what we can do. We've even tried to get like some eco-friendly places to hop on and have a chat, but didn't bite. But yeah, I feel like we panic so much when it world where we panic about everything, and that contributes to anxiety and mental health and so on. At the end of the day, if the water goes up an inch, it goes up an inch. It can be brilliant for some, it can be terrible for others. It might be closer to the sea now. You might like to go for an old swim. But when it comes to extinction and so on, it's a different conversation. But when it comes to just pure climate change, I think for the most part we're going to be pretty okay. I hope so anyway. Yeah,
like I suppose I ask with the idea that with the responsibility side of things, I don't want to guess the age difference between us, but it's considerable. Okay, and I if for you to be if I put myself in your position, I guess, would I be concerned or thinking about it or highlighting it like you are, because you are doing it? Would I be doing it? Probably not, and I guess that's kind of the question leads back to the idea that it's admirable for you to be doing it in the first place, because what you could be doing, like you were saying, Jared, about, big guests or whatever, you could be just doing that and it would be very easy to just do that, but you're not. You're sprinkling the bit of, cultural, or not cultural topics, sorry, the bigger topics into the conversation. And that is, I admire your podcast for doing that.
Thank you very much.
That's all right. Anytime.
We definitely try to do it because I know we have a lot of comedians and actors on, but at some point Jared will text me and go, right, enough, more climate people on. Who's that guy we had on who wrote the book about how we could go carbon neutral? I love talking to him. We had a guy on, I'm so sorry.
And I talked to him the other day.
I'm so sorry, I can't remember his name. But we had a guy and he wrote this book about how we could become carbon neutral. And he tells us like how long we have left, what we can do, how to do it. And it's those kind of people I want to see make the changes and, to implement them. But, that's not going to happen, man. Climate change, it goes against government policies and they don't make enough money. Board Namona goes under. It's just, it's a Saul. Something Goodman, isn't it?
What are you saying?
The guy's name. I can't think of his name.
Saul Goodman from Break.
No. His last name's Goodman.
Oh, you're right.
It is.
We'll figure it out. I tried to look it up there, but
Yeah, no,
I turned off for this thing. So
no, that's
we get right there.
that's I know, but that idea. But look, people can go back and check it. That's what people need. You know, on this podcast, I want you to go back to Awfully Irish and listen to their podcast. That's a great thing.